Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of the program, Potto Matthews in the Morning, from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're coming to you live from the Congaree Golf Club. We're hosting the PGA Tour event this weekend here in South Carolina. If you missed it last night, the Saints lose to the Cardinals. Georgia Tech loses to Virginia. Troy beats South Florida for the Battle of the Belt. That's a big game in the Sun Belt. And the Yankees go down 2-0 against the Astros. And I know, JC, you're devastated by your Yankees. Today's program, we got JC, then we'll have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. He'll give us a little breakdown of what's going on with Gator basketball. They have open practices, so the media boys can go watch them practice. I know they have a big scrimmage open to the public coming up. We'll get all that information from Kevin. So if you got any hoop questions, shoot them our way once Brockway gets on. JC, are you worried about your team?
I mean, it's sad. They can't beat Houston. Haven't beat them in 3 years. Houston gets one hit that matters last night. New York, Aaron Judge hits a ball that we thought was going out. It doesn't. They lose by a run. You know, when Severino pitches as well as he did, you got to win those games. So they're not going to win. They're going to lose in 5 or 6, and that'll be the end of it. We'll go watch them play the
JC, I got a little trivia question for you, since you're very knowledgeable in baseball. In the game last night, one's pretty obvious. I want to know if you know the other one. What were the Gator ties in that game last night?
Well, since I was at the Ron DeSantis soiree last night, my thinking was not about the baseball.
Were you raising hell last night?
I wasn't raising hell, but I was hobnobbing and, just trying to get things right around here. And, obviously Harrison Bader for the Yankees has been a pretty good addition, and I think the Yankee fans really like him.
You know, he grew up like a mile or two from the Yankee Stadium. Do you know that?
I did not.
He went to high school. He went to high school. He went to high school. Well, somewhere up there, some private school that's like $65,000 a year to go to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Astros have someone that has Gator connections. Kyle Tucker, their right fielder.
Okay.
I believe is the brother of Preston Tucker.
Okay.
He was going to be a Gator, but he said to hell with that and went straight pro.
Well,
he's pretty good.
Money speaks. It was just, I could predict this. I mean, it's so predictable. New York just cannot score and win in Houston.
But you got the best team money can buy with all those bats.
Obviously, Houston has a better team that money can buy because they've got more wins than the Yankees. If it's Houston and San Diego, that I don't think anybody would complain about that. I think it'll be interesting. I just don't like the Astros because of what happened. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. They stole.
Well, they're not cheating anymore, JC.
And they stole the World Series from the Yankees that year because they knew what was coming. The Yankees all came within an out of winning the World Series. So I don't know. I think that's right.
You can't work. They're not beating the drum this year.
Yeah,
they got Dusty Baker in charge.
Yeah,
they're good. They're very good.
They have been very good. Because I think it was before the All-Star break, they were way behind in the division and certainly nowhere near New York on record. And then things kind of flattened out for the Yankees, and the Astros picked it up, obviously, with the pitching. Pitching is all this is, man. This is all about pitching. What we saw Zach Wheeler do with the Phillies in Game 1 against the Padres, a one-hitter in San Diego. That's how you're going to win this series. And we talk about this 100,000 times. There's really nothing more to baseball than who has the better pitching when it comes to playoff time. That is it. End of story. And New York's not been bad, but Houston's just been better. So, you have Justin Verlander on the ropes, and if you don't knock him out early, like the Seattle Mariners did when they played him, then he's going to get better as the game goes along, and that's what happened. That's why Yankees lost Game 1. So it's just been disappointing for Yankee fans. They just can't get over this Houston hump.
Yeah, it's amazing all the money they spend and haven't been in the World Series.
You are so crazy about the damn money. What do you? I mean, what is it with you and the money?
Well, I mean, it's not just me, JC. Hang on just a second. Let me pull this up. One of our loyal listeners.
Okay.
What the hell's wrong with my computer? Jeff says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, the Dodgers and the Yankees both try to buy championships every year. Bam. Take that, he said.
That's so good. That's a great take. Well, listen, go ahead and root for your damn Astros. I mean, you want to pull for the cheaters?
So they're now my Astros.
You want to root for your beloved Astros, go for it. You can't root for Atlanta Braves right now.
No. Daryl says on the Titan MR text line, good morning, guys. Shane, I was watching some of Georgia Tech game last night. How do you think Florida would fare in the ACC?
Yeah.
that's a great question. Hang on a second.
God, was that awful.
Clemson is the cream of the crop. Then you got, I guess, Syracuse, since they're undefeated. We'll find out about them this week. Man, I never thought about that, Daryl. Daryl's wanting us to change conferences now.
I never thought about that either, but you could think about that. No, it's Florida's mediocrity is not a secret. It just has to take time to get players here. I don't know if Billy can do it 1 year or 2, but I do know that it takes less time, QB, as you know, to get better rosters in today's world. It just does.
Yeah, well, it does and it doesn't. I mean, Ole Miss and Tennessee had over 25 transfers on their team this year from last year. Yeah. John says, and I must have missed this. He says, QB, what are your thoughts about Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers? I think he will thrive with Kyle Shanahan. Trade him?
I didn't see that.
He would be a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers.
Yeah. Well, that would be bad news for my Rams. Yes. That would be bad news for my Rams. QB, do you know that you just mentioned Clemson? Do you know that Florida State last week ran the ball for over 200 yards on Clemson last week? Did you know that?
I did not know that because I didn't watch any of it.
That's surprising. Florida State's 4-3. It's Clemson. Yeah, it's clearly Clemson. And these 2 games last night. You mentioned South Florida. It was South Alabama that Troy beat last night. But both games were low scoring and quite boring from what I hear. And the scores indicated that. Then you saw the Arizona Cardinals beat the Saints, your Saints, and it's amazing what a couple wide receivers could do for a guy who's playing quarterback. So Hopkins certainly was an impact player last night, and they scored points. Saints usually have a pretty good salty defense. It didn't show last night. So,
well, I'll be damned, JC, you and I aren't up to speed here. We've had Clay and John both said the deal is done. He was traded last night. They got 3 draft picks for him.
Okay. Good trade for Carolina, without a doubt. And San Francisco's trying to win it now. They've got the team they can win it with. So that's a good trade from both. I think it works out well for both. Carolina's got to rebuild their roster a little bit.
Yeah, Carolina's in disarray. Matt asked on Facebook Live, Shane, do you think Napier is being soft on Richardson, I guess he's asking? How do you think Berryhill would be treating him? Who the hell's Berryhill?
Don't know who Berryhill is, but what about that first initial question there, QB? What does that mean, being soft?
I don't think he's been – I think he's doing what he can do with it. Some people can be coached hard. Some people can't. I don't think he can be coached hard. I think Billy's handling him well. We got another text here on the Titan More text line. Anonymous texter says, Shane, David Moulton said something last night that I thought was spot on. We are playing a bunch of young kids on defense, and Billy is willing to look bad on defense this year to get the kids experience they want to run moving forward, rather than put a Band-Aid on it and run cover 0 like what HBC wants. Even though in the short term, a change would be more effective, Billy's looking long term. Well, we are playing a lot of young players, but we do have some guys that have played a lot of football that won't be on the team next year, but they'll be moving on. So I don't know. Frank asked here on the Titan More text line, his prediction, both Florida and FSU will come into the game 5-6, and we plan for a bowl game. That's what happened last year. We had to win to go to a bowl game.
Yeah, why does he think Florida State will be 5-6? I mean, they're at 4-3 right now. That means they're only going to win one more game on their schedule, and on their schedule, you're looking at Georgia Tech, Miami, Louisiana, and a home game with Florida. And so I see more than 5 wins for FSU. I think they'll have 6. I think they're going to beat Georgia Tech in their next game. I think they could easily beat Miami and Louisiana for sure. They play at Syracuse. Why can't they win that one? So, yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. I think FSU will have 6 or 7 wins.
We shall see.
Those games were so bad last night, QB. It's just these Thursday night college games.
I watched a lot of South Alabama Troy. I thought it was an excellent football game. 2 really good teams in the Sun Belt. It was low scoring, but I enjoyed watching that game because that's a big rivalry game. They're very close to one another.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No doubt.
What is the status of Jack Miller? Do you think we might see him in the Georgia game if AR struggles?
No.
Jack didn't even dress out last week. I think he's back practicing some. I don't know what we'll do if he will play or not. But Georgia ain't going to be easy. I think we all know that. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker, M.M. Parish, will value fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with JC on the Titan Mar Hotline, we'll be joined by Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun talking Gator Hoops. They're full force practicing, get his thoughts. They got some great additions. I'm excited for the basketball team for sure. JC, do you want to get to our Peachland Dental picks now or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can if you like. Certainly, we got a little bit of a lighter schedule than last week. Last week's week 7, I think, was the best week of the season in terms of entertainment value. If you put the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game up against the Alabama Tennessee game, which one was better?
Oh, Alabama Tennessee.
College football gets 10% of the revenue the NFL gets. 10%.
Tony says Kirby Dardar still playing for Syracuse.
Yeah,
remember Kirby Dardar?
Yeah, he took it back on you boys.
He ran in a reverse. In the opening kickoff. And I was screaming. I was screaming from the sideline as the kickoff team went out there. Watch the reverse. Nobody listened.
I guess, QB, the point I was trying to make, though, before we talk about Kirby Dardar, is that you've got college football, all right? And the best of what it has to offer is 1/10 of what the NFL thinks is the best it has to offer right now. And we're talking about the playoffs in 2026. That's something that has to be addressed. They've got to get the playoffs to 2024 or sooner, or, well, at the very latest 2024, in my opinion.
Here's probably what will happen if you get Ole Miss. If you can get Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee all in the mix.
Just read my mind. You just read my mind. You read my mind where a possibility of each of those teams having one loss is actually real. It probably won't happen, but it's real.
Well, Ole Miss is not. Ole Miss, I love everything they're doing. You can sit down and watch them with me. I'll tell you how bad a football team they are. Somehow they're winning. They've played horrible competition, but they are what they are. Hey, give them credit.
They're 6-0. But QB, look, you've got UCLA is undefeated. You've got a possibility where maybe 1 or 2 Big 12 teams have one loss. There is a case for the playoffs today, and obviously it won't happen, and it won't happen next year either. But this is the problem that these college football guys are having. The Tennessee-Alabama game last week and a couple of the other ones that were played last week were far and away more entertaining and better than anything the NFL has to offer at this point in time, unless you are a diehard Buffalo Bill or Kansas City Chief fan. But in terms of just looking at the games and watching the drama unfold, what is better? It's obvious college football is better. That's my pitch.
Yeah, Matt says his Siri was messing up. He meant how would Spurrier treat Richardson? He would have benched him multiple times. But the difference is all his quarterbacks were the same.
They were. He didn't have
not everybody's the same in today's world.
What would Anthony be at Spurs? Would he be a tight end, or what would he be?
Oh, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Got another text here before we get to our picks. It says, on the Titan Mar text line, do you think AR has a hard time getting up for games that aren't big games? He seems to have played great in our 2 biggest national games, Utah and Tennessee. He played great against Tennessee. I wouldn't say he played great against Utah. He made some splash plays, but other than that, he was pedestrian. I I mean, I'm on record saying that I said it when we signed him, JC. You know it. I coached him in high school. I didn't think he could play quarterback at that level. He's still going to be a first-round draft pick, and that's great for him. But like I said, let the NFL people worry about the potential. We got to get consistent play. If you look at all the good teams that have won national titles, that won conference championships, that win week in and week out, is consistency at that position. It's not making 4 splash plays that the fans go bananas over.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is,
QB,
you got to complete the balls that are completable. If that makes it, you are just, there's a lot to go into playing quarterback that sometimes you just can't teach it.
So you've been harping on that for weeks on end, and it's
not weeks. How about years?
Okay, but for this year specifically, that's what we've been harping on because Kyle Trask was pretty good. Okay, he was pretty good, and he wasn't here that long ago. But you know, the way I look at it is so we know what the problem is. So what do we do about it today? And so here's my answer to that.
Okay.
Here's my answer. I'll just give you my answer, and you can tell me why I'm an idiot. But they're going to lose to Georgia, and let's just be honest, they'll probably lose at Texas A&M. So now you're 4-5. You end up with 3 games: South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Florida State. One of those games is at home. If you don't get any of these other kids on the field to play, then you deserve what you get when the season comes around next year. If you want to get consistency, then put them on the damn field and let them play. And that means get Kitna in there or Miller or whoever the hell it is and give them some reps in game time situations. And Vanderbilt is a perfect game for that. And so
I agree with everything you're saying, but it's not going to happen because of NIL. It's not going to happen.
Well, then guess what? If that's the case, then he's not doing what's best for his team by giving them the best advantage for the future. I'm just saying. And that's not what I want here.
The college football has become what I went through a lot in the NFL. JC, I talked about this on whether it was our show or another show, but these are the first-round quarterbacks that we're taking on teams that I played. Cade McNown, J.P. Lossman, Patrick Ramsey, and Carson Palmer. Okay? Mm-hmm. Carson Palmer did not play one snap his rookie year. He was clearly, you knew the first time I watched him practice, I was like, this dude is legit. Unbelievable, had an unbelievable career. Okay. The other 3 guys, they all had that whole, well, let's work them in the 3rd series of X amount of games. The veterans hated it. The veterans knew that when they were inserted, they had no chance of winning. And then eventually, when you get out of the playoff hunt, what happens? They turn it over to the rookie quarterback. And the veterans now know we ain't got a chance of winning. Okay. But that's the NFL because it's a business because they've invested all that money into those first rounders. Okay. Well, my point is those 3 guys lasted about 3.5 to 4 years in the league. They couldn't play. So, but my point is, I believe college football is getting that way because the people making the most money in their NIL deals, they're going to be forced to play because of the folks that set up and paying these people want to see their guys play. Does that make sense?
It does. But when you're 4-5, or even if you're 5-4, and it's pretty obvious what you are, and there's no answer above and beyond changing things to try to get better and set yourself up for the future. I don't care about how much damn money is being thrown around. Dude, this guy's got a job. He's making $7 million a year. He can do whatever he wants, QB. It doesn't matter who's getting $1 million and who's getting $10,000. Either you win or you don't. You put your team in the best position with the best advantage in the future to win football games. You can do that today if you give these kids reps and you give them.
Here's the other thing too. Is I agree with everything you're saying, but next year's quarterback may not even be on our roster.
Think about it. Okay, I don't disagree with that, but why shouldn't we give Kitna and Miller at least a chance? Jesus, I don't care about AR's bank account at this point anymore. It doesn't matter. This is college. You play the best.
So basically, JC, what you're saying even though you are a Gator fan, people don't believe that. You don't care about the 60 yards, the 80-yard runs.
I don't care about a season that is basically more or less.
I don't care about any of those runs because that has nothing to do with playing quarterback.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about setting up your team for possible success in the future. And yeah, we don't know who's coming or going. But right now, we know what we have. If you don't utilize the talent that's out there potentially and see what you got, you are setting yourself up for failure. And I don't think Billy's that way. I know he wants to win here, and he's gonna. So he's got to do something, in my mind, that puts them in position to at least give us a chance to see what we got. And those 3 games at the end of the year, QB, after the A&M game, are perfect opportunities to give a kid a chance. We already know what Anthony's done. He can go take his $1 million. He can go buy a business if he wants to. I do not care. He can go sell rims. He can go do a disco. He can go do music. He can do dance lessons. It doesn't matter. At this point, I'm talking about getting Florida back into the conversation.
Frank says on the Titan Mark text.
What I do? This me.
Mario Wilson sent out a tweet hinting that he'll be starting now. Okay, well,
good.
He might be. All right, JC, let's get to our Peachland Dental Dentistry. Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte, surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. It's time for JC and the QB's weekend.
All right. What's their record, QB? One more time with the record, please.
42-39, 39-42.
Okay, so guess what? I tried to look up some people who were also picking games, as many as we do, and I found one. His name is Clay Travis. Love him. Great, absolute, unbelievable personality. But he is 35-41 on the year and went 3-8 last week. That tells me that, as an anecdote, it's hard this year. This year's been tough. So we're not doing as badly as maybe what this record says. You're 3 under 500. I'm 3 above 500. It's virtually the same. So let's start it off with the ACC game that we've mentioned earlier with Syracuse is playing at Clemson. Dino is 6-0 with the Orangemen. They are still in the race for the ACC, and this is a huge game. Garrett Schrader's been a great transfer for the Orangemen.
Mississippi State quarterback.
Yes, and he couldn't throw a lick. And now he's throwing and passing and running. And basically, Syracuse, I think, will try to do the same thing FSU did last week, and that's take the time off the clock and run the football. FSU ran for over 200 yards on Clemson last week. You're giving me 13.5, and I love it. I'll take it.
Wow, is that many?
That's a lot, man. How can you not take that? The Vegas is begging you to take it.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Clemson. I want to go with Vegas.
Okay. Purdue at Wisconsin. The Boilers could easily be undefeated right now. They're getting 2.5 at a team that's got an interim coach in Jim Leonard, got beat by Michigan State last week. Why they're the favorite, I don't know. Home field means nothing for these guys. They've lost a couple times in Madison. Give me Purdue plus 2.5. I think they can win the West. I'm
a big Jeff Brom guy, so I'll take the Boilers.
Okay, here's a really good game. Undefeated team mentioned before. This is on Fox at noon, I believe, or at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock noon local time, 3:30, 12:30. UCLA plus 6.5 at Oregon. It's all about Zach Charbonnet and DTR for UCLA. That's their quarterback, Chip Kelly, going back to Eugene. Good game here. I think a lot of points will be scored, and I'm going to take 6.5 with UCLA. Oregon will probably win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Fighting Chip Kellys, but like you said, Oregon could easily blow them out.
Easily. Oregon has that way of doing things in that conference where they just get moving, and Austin Stadium with its 54,000 fans, considered the loudest in the country, which is such BS. They have no idea what it's like in Knoxville or Gainesville or Baton Rouge. Now, it's a game I really am intrigued by, and I think could be the most entertaining game of the day. And that's Kansas State with Adrian Martinez, who has not thrown an interception all year. He has not thrown an interception. It's unbelievable. They are getting 3.5 points against Duggan and those Texas Christian University Horned Frogs under Sonny Dykes. You like the home team there?
Are the Christians at home?
The Christians are at home. Yeah. Yeah.
The Horned Frog Christians?
Yeah, the Christian Frogs.
I will take the Christian Frogs at home.
Okay, the Christian.
Going to be a lot of purple in the stadium with these two teams playing.
It is. But man, this is you gotta love the way they're going right now. I love the way K-State's going, to be honest with you. But TCU is doing great.
What is the spread?
Plus 3.5. Kansas plus 3.5. TCU minus 3.5. And
so you're taking the Christians?
I think so. And the home team, it's worth 3 points. I'll just take my chances with that. I hate the half court, though. But in college football, it's not as prominent as in the NFL. If you guys are hearing a lot of noise in the background, I've got folks up on the roof.
Let's hope they don't fall through.
West Virginia +6 at Texas Tech. West Virginia, big win last week on Thursday night. I like JT Daniels. I think he's played good. But I don't like them on the road, so I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover that 6.5.
Yep, I like the Red Raiders. They're actually a pretty good team.
Yes, they are a good team. That's why this Big 12 conference QB has been extremely competitive, very balanced. Here's a game that I didn't understand. I saw this next line here, QB, and I had to do a double take. I thought I was looking at something that was wrong. I thought I was looking at a line that was misprinted. But it's true that Texas is on the road at Stillwater, where they have won 9 of 11 games in Stillwater. But they are on the road in Stillwater, laying 6.5 to Okie State. So I had to figure out why is that line doesn't make any sense.
Because the quarterback's out.
So Spencer Sanders is 50-50 at best. He may not even play. Okie State's offensive line is banged up. You got Texas with a lot of momentum behind their guy who's healthy. You going to take the Longhorns?
No, I'm going to take the home team regardless.
Yeah.
You just don't roll in there.
You don't.
To what's the name of that ballpark?
Boone Pickens
Stadium.
Boone Pickens Stadium. Yeah.
Are you taking the Horns?
Well, it's all about Spencer Sanders. I'm a big Spencer
we don't know that. So you got to pick somebody.
So, okay. I'm not. I think I want the points because even with a backup, Gundy's going to figure out a way to score. Texas is is a very good team. But that's too many. If it was 3 or 3.5, maybe. Now we get to the SEC QB in the game we mentioned before, unbeaten and first place in the SEC West. Who back in July I said, watch out for Mississippi, and you went bah, 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 bah. Mississippi is getting 2 at LSU, and your beloved LSU Tigers.
Yeah, I'm beloved
LSU. Your beloved Tigers are gonna catch 2. No, they're laying 2. And your Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels, you love him.
I don't love him. I'm just stating facts of what he did last week.
Can I get some Mardi Gras beads and let's just send him the QB, get him a purple shirt.
My beloved team is the visiting team wearing the wrong uniforms. I don't know why Lane keeps changing up the helmets and all that. It drives me insane.
I know. Well, you're taking your beloved. Which beloved?
No, I want Ole Miss to win. I don't think they win the game though. I'm taking LSU.
Yeah, you're taking your beloved Tigers. I think. Golly,
it makes no sense, JC. Go ahead and admit it. It makes no sense. Why is LSU favored?
By 2. I'll take Mississippi just because I'm a bigger fan than you are.
You're a bigger fan. Yeah. My room as a kid was red, white, and blue with Colonel Reb everywhere.
All right, moving on. Vanderbilt +14 at Missouri. I don't know why we have to pick this game, but it's an SEC game. What do you want?
I'm taking the Missouri Tigers.
Laying the 14. Okay, yeah. I'm going to take Vanderbilt. All right,
real quick. We just got a text. Well, I'll read this text in a minute.
No, you can read it. I'll take it.
No, go ahead.
Mississippi State +21 in Tuscaloosa.
I'm going to say Mississippi State keeps it close.
Okay.
They're going to lose the game, but I'll take the 21.
They're just such a Jekyll and Hyde team on the road, QB. I can't pick against Bama. I put that mandate last year when every time I picked against them, I lost, so I'm just going to stay with it and probably lose that one. Here's the last
Who did you take, Alabama?
I took Alabama.
Okay, so here's the text. I'm going to read this text real quick. It's from Jimmy. Jimmy says, so he said it. Peyton. It's not Peyton Manning. It's Arch Manning. So Arch Manning is the #1 player in America. I've seen tape. I don't think he's very good. Do you think he still goes to Texas? I don't know. I'll take him because you know what he can do? He can throw completions and know where to go with the football. I guarantee you he's going to be a good college quarterback.
Coach him up.
I don't care who he's played against in high school. I don't care how slow he moves. You know he's going to be able to do the stuff that you can't teach.
Well, and
that goes a long ways.
Football pedigree goes a long way as far as I'm concerned.
Let me put it this way. He is way more athletic than both of his uncles. 100 times more athletic than both of them.
Very interesting. Well, he's got 3 uncles. Actually, the third uncle who doesn't play
would be his dad.
Oh, what?
He's got
that is his dad. Okay. Excuse me. I got messed up on the Manning tree.
Yes, you did.
By the way, though, that dad of his was considered the best of the 3 when they were playing football. I saw the story on ESPN. Texas A&M. Texas A&M -3 at Carolina Southern. Who you like there? I like Carolina.
I like TAMU.
You like TAMU? I'm going to take Carolina Southern because.
And what is the line?
TAMU is laying 3. I'm taking the home dog. Triple play special just for all those keeping score. We're 3-6 on the year. We're going to get back to 500. Indiana +3.5 at Rutgers. You want the Hoosiers? Las Vegas. Again, these are games that are not thought of, but that I did special attention to. Vegas +25.5 against Notre Dame. Give me Vegas. And I want the over 51 on Vanderbilt and Missouri. 51 points. The game's going over. Vanderbilt has given up in the last 3 SEC games. They have given up 55, 52, and 55 points in their last 3 SEC games. Take the over. Vanderbilt and Missouri. There's your 3.
Do we not have any NFL games this week?
Yeah. Damn it. I just forget to put the NFL on there. Okay, typically we like to go with the local games, but I don't care about Tampa Bay and Carolina. We're not going to mess with that, but we do want to take this game. You tell me why right now, QB, the red-hot New York Giants are only giving up 3 to the slumping Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think you got that wrong. I think the Jaguars are favored.
I beg your pardon. I'm dyslexic this morning.
Because it's the National Football League, and they don't care about records. The Jags will win that game.
Against the Giants? I'll take the
Jags.
I'm taking the Giants, and I hope the Jags win, but I'm taking the damn Giants. Okay, here's another game nobody understands, but I'm going
very similar to the LSU Ole Miss game.
I'm going to take the other okay, here's the other game, and here's another line I don't get, but the New Jersey Jets are pick 'em against the pathetic, anemic, and awful Denver Broncos, who are offensively one of the worst teams I've ever seen play football at this point in the season.
I will take the Broncos at Mile High.
I will take the New Jersey Jets.
All right, and you're going all New Jersey.
And I'm doing the New Jersey double. You can parlay them. Do the parlay, the Jersey parlay. Call it the Turnpike parlay.
All right, give us the last one. We got to go to break.
All right, we got to go to break.
Give me one more.
Okay, all right. Last one is an interesting game. Atlanta and Cincinnati, both teams coming off some big wins. Atlanta's getting 6.5. Who do you like there?
I like the Falcons.
I do too. Something about them is turning me on. So give me the Falcons +6.5, and then the Jersey Turnpike parlay, Jets and Giants.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back. We're talking a little Gator basketball with Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. You're watching and listening to Pot Up Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Chris Doring Mortgage and do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Now going to go to the Titan-Mar hotline, and we're joined by Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun, talk a little hoops. Before we get to that, Andy had a question. Says, Shane, what do you think of Bailey Zappi? I love him. I liked him at Western Kentucky. He started his career at Houston Baptist, transferred to Western Kentucky. He's a guy who played in the league a long time. He knows how to throw the football. Kevin, how you doing, my man? You got JC on the line as well.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, JC.
Hey, buddy.
How you guys doing? Yeah, I actually saw Bailey Zappi play last year at Western Kentucky, and I was really impressed. Not only with his strong ability, but his ability to kind of process things and get the ball out quickly to receivers.
That's the number one goal, Kevin. When you're breaking down quarterbacks, it's about processing and delivering the baby. It ain't about how fast and how far and how hard you throw things. All right, Kevin, we'll get your thoughts on Gator football here in a little bit. But you're a basketball guru. You love hoops.
Yep.
Just kind of give us a synopsis of what you've seen so far from this new squad under Todd Golden.
Yeah, I've been to a few practices, and I've been pretty impressed so far with what they're doing, particularly, offensively. I think they're running a lot of really good sets, a lot of really good screening actions, smart stuff. Colin Castleton has looked very good, getting up and down the floor, shooting the ball pretty well from three. I liked the point guard, Kyle Lofton, before he got hurt, but Trey Bonham has been very good, too, in his stead in relief. He's quick. He's got a little good shot to him. And Alex Fudge is an interesting guy because he's a kind of like a very long 6'11" guy. I don't know how much offense he's going to give you, but defensively and as a rim protector and as a guy that's athletic and that can impact the game, he's a really interesting wild card in my mind.
Kevin, I want to talk about the size the team has, and specifically, I'm really excited about Colin Castleton's opportunity this year. Can you expand a little bit about what you expect to see, the improvement from him, and will he be the primary leader of this team, you think?
Yeah, and I think that's what Todd Golden is pushing him to be a leader, to be more vocal, to be the guy that everyone looks up to. And it's always best when your best player is a leader, I think. And I think with Colin, he's the kind of guy that, maybe is a guy that was a little shy in the past, but you can see him more huddling the team up, getting the team kind of pumped up, getting them, psyched up. But, the other thing about Colin, too, is I think he plays with a really good motor. He gets up and down the floor. Yeah. He really, in that aspect, I think he really leads by example in terms of just how hard he plays. And I think that's something that could probably rub off on the rest of the team as well.
Well, I'm sorry, QB. Sorry.
Well, Kevin, I want to talk to the biggest addition to me that Todd Golden made was Kyle Lofton from St. Bonaventure, a true point guard who's been outstanding throughout his career. And you really got to play well to guard play when it comes March. He's the quarterback of the team. Just tell us your thoughts on Kyle Lofton and what you've seen from him in practice.
Yeah, I really liked him in the first few practices. And then, he got a little groin issue, so he's been out for about a week and a half. But from what I saw the first week of practices, He's a guy that he plays with a really good pace, I think, and he's a guy that, you know, he can create his own, which I think is very valuable. And a point guard, Billy Donovan, had always talked about, you know, the value of scoring point guards, the values of guys that can get a basket when they need to. And he's a guy that can do that. But when he sees the double team also, or when he collapses, he just has a really innate ability to get rid of the ball as well. You know, his track record as a 3-point shooter at St. Bonaventure wasn't necessarily lights out, but I think he's got the quickness and the ability to create his own offense in the SEC. And I think Bonham is actually a guy that has shown me that he could shoot a little bit too. So I think he could be a change of pace guy. You bring in Bonham, and he could be a guy that could stretch the defense a little bit from the point guard spot.
So, Kevin, they open up here very soon against Stony Brook. You go through the November games. I'm looking down at the schedule a little bit, though, Kevin, and I'm looking at some interesting games in December before they get into conference play at the end of December as opposed to January. And we've got Connecticut and Oklahoma coming to Gainesville. After that, though, you start the SEC season with Auburn, but specifically in the SEC, the first 2 home games include a team that went to the NIT Finals in Texas A&M and Mike White's Georgia Bulldogs coming in. So talk to me a little bit about what the fans can expect in terms of entertainment value, basically, with these games that are coming to Gainesville and the opportunity that the Gator basketball team has. Obviously, they want to win and play well, but won't these games give Gator fans a true indication of what Todd Golden is trying to do here after he gets started for the first month?
Yeah, because you're facing some good coaches too. You know, Danny Hurley's done a really good job at UConn. Porter Moser is a guy I really liked. I liked him at Loyola Chicago, and he's in year 2 at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
he's a guy that, you know, those are 2 teams that are going to be well coached, I think, definitely. And then you know, you go down the road certainly with you know, Auburn, certainly in Bruce Pearl and Todd Golden. I have a connection. Todd Golden, you know, was on Bruce Pearl's staff. So he's a guy, you know, certainly that, and watching that Auburn team in Israel, I was really impressed. Johnny Broom, who was a guy who, you know, obviously the Gators could have had. He's going to be a force inside as a rebounder. That's going to be an interesting matchup with Castleton. And then you got what Buzz Williams is doing at Texas A&M is very impressive. And, you know, the Mike White game will be interesting. That's going to be a game that I think a lot of Gator fans have circled on their calendar. It'll be interesting, the reception that he gets at the O-Dome. You know, I hope it's a good one. I liked Mike a lot as a person. You know, obviously it didn't maybe work out in the end in terms of the progress that the program was making. But I think he was a guy that, you know, at the very least was a really good representative of the university.
Bruce Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Kevin Brockway here on the Titan Moore Hotline, talking Gator hoops. All right, I got a kind of a 2-part question here for you, Kevin. First of all, Riley Kugel was a late addition. I think he was initially committed to Mississippi State, but I've heard great things about him. Where do you see him in the rotation? And then talk about Will Richard, the transfer from Belmont.
Shane, Kugel's been running with the first team a little bit. I mean, he's really good. He's really advanced, and he's got a set of shoulders on him too. He's got an SEC body, which is really impressive. Like I remember, I can harken back about 10 years ago, back to 2012 in Basketball Media Day, when I first saw Brad Beal. And I mean, Brad Beal was built like a running back, and I said, this kid is a cut above. And he's a guy that's going to go places. He's not going to be around here really long, just because, you know, he had that size and he had that ability. Now, I'm not comparing Riley Kugel to Bradley Beal just yet, but I think Kugel has you know, he's definitely physically ready for Power 5 college basketball. He's got a nice shot. He rebounds from the guard position, very similar to what Beal does, what Beal did in his career. So I see a very good upside for him, and I see a guy that will definitely be a factor in the rotation and will get playing time as a freshman. And Will Richard he's been hurt also, but he's a guy, I watched him shoot around. He's got an excellent stroke. He's a guy that can definitely help, and it kind of projects as a 3-and-D guy too. He's a thick kid. He's another strong kid. Who can get out on the perimeter, I think, and guard. He's got a little bit of a knee issue, and He's been a little gimpy getting up and down the floor in some live scrimmages, but if he can get that sorted out, I think he can definitely be a factor as well.
Yeah, one more thing for JC ask a question. I don't know if you can tell in practices, because I'm pretty sure, are all the practices open to the media is my first question. Second part is this analytics thing. JC talks about it in football. It drives him nuts, but we know Todd Golden is big in analytics. So how do you expect fans to react, or will they be able to tell any of his analytical moves?
It's different for basketball, I think.
Well, it's interesting because, and most of the practices have been open. I wouldn't say all of them, but a majority of them, which is nice. So it's nice to be able to go in there and see what they're doing in preseason. I think it's going to close up a little now. These next couple of weeks, they have a quote unquote secret scrimmage against Miami tomorrow that won't be open to the public, and college basketball teams do this now. And then they're going to go to Jacksonville the following week when the Gators go up there for the football game as well, and they're going to play JU. The interesting aspect of the analytics is these players are being judged, this preseason based on those numbers. There's a point system that each of them have. So individually, he's judging a lot of these players on, a lot of different aspects of the game, and not just the tangible shooting, typical to rebounding, typical things, hustle stats too, which I think is really important. Taking charges, getting on the floor, and it's fairly advanced, and they feel like they're going to compile as much data as possible to create a lineup and create rotations here, which I think will be fascinating. I think will be interesting. But I'm also a believer, Shane, that you go with your gut in certain situations, also in any sport, and I think in college basketball it's really no different. When you see a certain guy that's got a good matchup and that's dominating, you try to get to the ball to him or run the same play as much as possible if it continues to work.
Kevin, I don't know how ticket sales are going right now as far as the season is concerned. I haven't heard a lot of folks talk to me about their anticipation for basketball season just yet, since we've been so deep into football. But give me and some of the listeners out there a reason to get truly excited about this potential team with this new coach, who admittedly must have been a surprise to many Gator basketball fans who weren't basketball purists. I mean, a lot of folks didn't know where Todd Golden had come from when he announced he comes from San Francisco. He gets to the NCAA tournament, but mostly he was a name that I don't think a lot of people expected to land in Gainesville, Florida from San Francisco. So with that in mind, why should Gator fans really be excited, other than the obvious curiosity for this upcoming season on the hard court?
I think what I've seen also, JC, from practices is a team. I think it's going to be a more entertaining team to watch, just in terms of getting up and down the floor, tempo, pace. Yeah. I think they're going to be a team that is going to play a more exciting brand of basketball, and I think that will translate. And winning always translates, but I think you're going to see a team that certainly I know under Mike it got a little stagnant some years depending on the personnel that he had, but I think with this personnel and with Kyle Lofton at the point and Trey Bonham, who's really a quick guy, between those two, I think you're going to see the ball pushed, and I think you're going to see a team that gets up and down and some scoring, and that's what fans want. They want scoring, they want excitement. You can talk about defense until you're blue in the face, and I think there's a time and a place for that, and there's also a time and a place for defense to create offense too. And that's what made part of what made Billy Donovan's team, and some of Mike White's early teams too. Mike White's most successful team was a team with Gioza and Casey Hill, and that was a team that could create offense off defense and play tempo. And I think that's what you're going to see with Todd Golden.
Well, I would say. Oh, I'm sorry.
Question here on Facebook Live, JC. Let me get to these. Brought to you by Melton Law. Andy wants to know, Kevin, will the Gators make the NCAA tournament? And on top of that, Kevin, where were they picked in the preseason All SEC and the preseason SEC deal with the media?
They were picked 7th, which would make them borderline a bubble team, and I think that's kind of where they've been the last few years, and I think that's probably where they'll be this year. I think that they, when you look at the talent around the rest of the league, and Kentucky with Tshiebwe back is going to be really tough. Certainly Auburn and what Bruce Pearl has done, Tennessee, Rick Barnes and what he's established. So there are going to be a few teams in front of them that they're going to have to battle. But
didn't Arkansas have the number one recruiting class in America?
Yeah, and Arkansas, Bill Musselman, Eric Musselman is another guy too that he's got that program going, and I think they're going to contend with Kentucky for a league title. So there are a lot of good teams in this league. This league is definitely top to bottom gotten strong. That being said, I mean, I think there's a chance if they really max out their potential that they could sneak into that top 4 range in the league, and if they could do that, then and be a top 25 team by the end of the season. I think their ceiling could be a little higher than the bubble and maybe be, one of those teams that's a top 25 team and a top, 5 to 6 seed in the NCAA tournament.
That'd be great. Oh, wow. Well, man, I just want to get excited in March. That's all. And I'm a local basketball guy. I love the Gators in basketball because it's a local team. You can go to places locally and get excited about watching your team. So,
yeah,
go Gators.
All right, Kevin. Last question for you. We had a couple of texts on the Titan MR text line, multiple ones about Jason Jatobo. We know he's coming off that eye surgery. We've had Chris Harris says he's doing very well with that. He'll have to wear goggles. But will he play a lot in this up-tempo style of play?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we've seen him. We would call it. We have seen him. Certainly get up and down the floor. I mean, I think he looks okay. The other thing about Todd Golden too is, and I think this was the biggest failing of the Mike White tenure at Florida. I never thought Mike White prioritized rebounding, and Todd Golden is a guy that he wants his guys to rebound from all positions, and I think he's going to value that with Chatoba and Castleton, and he's going to value dumping the ball in the post when it's needed, and also having guys in position to rebound, offensive rebound, defensive rebound. And I think certainly a big body like Chatobo is going to help in that area. So I think he'll be in the post rotation. I mean, Felder is another guy who's looked good in practice. So you've got 4 guys in the post you can rotate, with regards to fatigue and foul trouble. I think in Castleton, Fudge, Chatobo, and Felder, that I think are all going to, be able to kind of mix and match and play there. But, I think with Castleton being the guy that's going to be kind of the lead horse, so to speak, and he'll probably play 30 to 35 minutes. But those other 3 guys, I think, will factor into a rotation there as SEC play develops.
Kevin, good stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, Gatorsports.com and Kevin Brockway G1 at Kevin Brockway G1.
Good stuff, Kevin.
We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Take
All right,
care.
thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Kev. Yeah.
All right, before we get out here, we're going to get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Give Comfort Temp a call at 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports. JC, are you still here? In 2007, check this out. Tennessee Titans kicker Rob Baronis sets an NFL record for the most points scored in a game without scoring a touchdown. He had 26 points in a 38-36 win over the Texans.
Wow.
In Houston. So that's a lot of field goals. Hope you enjoyed today's program. I want to thank JC for his time and his knowledge, and Kevin Brockway for joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We'll see if JC's triple play hits this weekend, and we'll be back on Monday to recap college football, NFL football, and Major League Baseball, and we'll get ready for the Georgia.
Wait, before we leave, it's an open date, so you don't have to do a football game. So I know you have big plans, big plans for yourself.
Yeah, yes and no. I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of we'll figure it out.
All right. All right.
I just don't have to be sitting in a press box in a radio booth this weekend.
Well, we like listening. So, all right.
All right, JC, have a good weekend. That's going to do it for today's program. Hope you all have a great weekend, folks. See you on Monday. Take care.